It is Monday, August 14th. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. Jaguars Happy Hour is presented by Jet Home Loans. And now, a guy whose launch angle is only surpassed by his exit velocity, J.P. Shadrick.
And welcome in. It is Monday. It is Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans. J.P. Shadrick with you from the Hyundai Studios. We're on 1010XL AM, Jaguars.com. Jaguars social media, of course, Jaguars YouTube. Plenty on the show today. Pro Football Hall of Fame left tackle Tony Boselli coming up. CBS Sports senior writer Pete Prisco, of course, will get their thoughts. Preseason week one, the Jaguars win in Dallas over the Cowboys Saturday. A preview of practice this week. Practice? We're talking about practice. Wednesday, Thursday against the Lions before the preseason week two game in Detroit at Ford Field. We're keeping it real as we always do. And Fanatics fan questions are coming in hot and heavy today on X. Posts on X. Tony and Pete coming up shortly. Let's hear from Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson today reviewing the performance of the first-team offense.
You know, obviously the one throw slipped out of his hand and all that, but, you know, I thought the way he rebounded and, threw a nice touchdown pass, obviously to Christian, and then the two-point conversion to Zay, I thought were great ways for our offense and for Trevor to finish their night.
Quarterback Trevor Lawrence, after the game, discussed the performance also. An interception early, bounced back, though, with a touchdown, and overall a pretty good feeling at the end.
Besides that one throw, thought it was pretty clean, from an offensive perspective. Some things we need to work on. We had a 3-and-out on our second drive as well. That wasn't great. So just starting a little faster. Can't turn the ball over, put our defense in that situation. But I think we know that. Just bad throw by me. So, we'll watch the tape. We'll get better. And that's a good thing. I think we're getting better every day. And I've seen it through training camp and just continue to do that.
Jags offense fortunate they threw that interception on the second play of the opening drive and then had a 3-and-out. The ensuing punt return fumbled, recovered by the Jags to set up a short field, and they went forward on the fourth down to get that touchdown. Of course, more coming up, including a pretty nice night for the Jaguars defense Saturday, and all the availability from after the game available on Jaguars.com. Of course, it's Jaguars Happy Hour. It is Monday. CBS Sports senior writer Pete Prisco joining us now. Tony Boselli coming up in just a little bit. Pete, good afternoon. What's up, man?
JP, I just sent Tony a text, and he's probably driving, so he shouldn't be reading it. But what I said was, we've been doing this show for how long now, the three of us? 6 years?
At least, maybe 7 or 8.
Why is the intro always like we're just like guests on the show or something? I don't get it.
I got to get a word in edgewise. That's why, Pete. I get my stuff done, and then the rest of the show's yours.
Well, by the way, Pete and Tony are going to join the program. God, Joe Fortunato, I know you just turned 75 yesterday, I heard, or whatever you did. Come on. To fix that.
It's pretty amazing.
Happy birthday to Joe Fortunato.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about that. So that aside, Pete, glad we got started on the right foot.
I got to start the season the right way. Come on.
No doubt. You just heard from Doug Peterson, Trevor Lawrence there. The offense wasn't great, and then they scored a touchdown. They spread the ball out to some of those playmakers. I mean, this is not a game plan situation. They were running some things they wanted to run, getting guys touches, and just kind of getting in and out of the huddle on Saturday night.
Yeah, and I think Doug Peterson protected Calvin Ridley on this play. I don't think the ball slipped out of his hands. I really don't. What happened was Ridley's route was a crosser, and then he started heading up the field. You can see it. Look, he gets about 10 yards past where he's supposed to be, and that allows that guy to come in and make the play. Otherwise, Ingram's wide open, and I think what happened was it caused Trevor to kind of flinch and double clutch it a little bit, and that's why it sailed. I think, to be honest with you, I think Doug protected Calvin Ridley on that play because Calvin Ridley should be drifting 10 yards up the field.
And, yeah, number 30, who made that interception, kind of drifted back on the ball there. That makes sense to me.
Exactly what happened. So, but, again, it's a bad throw, bad mistake, and probably should have thrown it into the crowd. Look, you can see it again. We got it up here. Look, he's drift. And and the defensive back first into the play. So I can't fault really Trevor for that one. And then I think and I think the offense, what it's going to be this season, they were working against backups. I get it. They're going to be really good on offense. Nobody is disputing that.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see, what happens. But first time out, you got to have some things to work on. They were fortunate, though, they got that third possession right after the fumble on the punt return to at least give them an opportunity. Bucky Brooks thought that, hey, maybe they were going to be done after those two drives until the quick change. Sudden change got them back out on the field, and then they went forward on the 4th and 3 and cashed it in with a touchdown to Christian Kirk on the back end.
Which was a really well-designed play, and Christian Kirk was wide open. By the way, this play, the 2-point play, Trevor kind of held for a second. He had him wide open in the back of the end zone. It ended up working out, but you can see it right there. No, that's the Kirk play. I'm sorry, 2-point play. On the 2-point play, you can see he's open in the middle of the field. He got away with it. But you know what? The best thing that come out of it? The tackles. Well,
the tackles.
Well. I thought Walker Little did a nice job, and Anton Harrison did a fantastic job at right tackle. For a rookie, he was outstanding. And again, he's working against backups. JP, that's Sam Williams, who's a good player. A guy they're counting on the rush to passer at Dallas. So I thought all in all, I think that the best thing to come out of the offensive performance, both tackles played well.
And we'll hear from Tony coming up in just a little bit on that tackle play. But, in my very elementary way, I will say it is as advertised for Anton Harrison in those feet, Pete. He can move and get off the ball and get back and move around. And it just looks a little bit different in a good way.
It does. And, the one play that he didn't make, he allowed Fowler to come down the line and make the play on the backside run. That he'll realize the speed of the game. He's got to get a little bit on him and get to him, chip him a little bit or get to him. You got to be impressed with that. I think another thing from the offensive line, Fortner looked stronger played stronger.
Yeah.
He played stronger, and that's important for that run game. And I think it's going to be big for them this season. The tight end can block. Rookie from Penn State is a mauler, and he's not afraid to his head and shoulders at people when he pulls through and leads through as the lead guy and trapping guys. So I think when you look at that group, they're going to run the ball better. And you saw in this play, he came down the left side of the defensive line with a crunching block.
Yeah, we're watching the play, the Bigsby run, and it's him and Luke Farrell on the right side of the tackle on the right side of the line. And I think Farrell actually pancaked his guy. Yeah, he did. And Britton Strange is like 5 yards down the field, pushing him down the field.
And that was a problem last year. They couldn't block the edge. So I think when you add those two into the equation with the ability to block down and create room, I think it's big for the run game. Stronger Fortner, better blocking tight ends will improve the run game.
Defensively, Pete, starting group got a little push. Devon Hamilton had a pretty good game. Roy Robertson-Harris was called out by the coach today, had some good rushes. They didn't get a lot of time on defense, but when they were out there, the starting group looked good. Andre Sisco whiffed on a sack. It set it up for Hamilton to clean it up in I think the first possession for Dallas. But then even some deeper guys were getting some play. Yasir Abdullah had some nice rushes in the game, Pete, and that's a guy, they're going to have to count on a little bit, it feels like, on the edge. And overall, the defense, I felt like, had a pretty good night.
Yeah, this is Abdullah's sack, and what I liked about it is he kept going. A lot of times you get around that corner, the ball's out, but the ball wasn't out, and he kept going. He had another rush later in the game. And he also had a couple tackles in the run game. I think he was active. He was impressive. I liked him coming out of Louisville. As one of my favorite guys in the draft. And I think they got to be excited about what they saw from him. Another guy that I thought played well was Devin Lloyd. Last year, Devin Lloyd played slow. He was thinking too much. He wasn't reacting. He reacted in this game. And again, it's a preseason game, so there's not a lot to digest and put on this plate, but he seemed much faster, much more physical. He came up and blasted a guy in the hole on a run play. He just much more active and athletic. He wasn't spinning around. And I think that's progress and a step in the right direction.
9 snaps, to your point, Pete. So not a huge sample size there, but even in that short time on the field, yes, you can tell that it is a little bit clearer, at least early. Well, I'm curious how much they're really going to play this week with all the practice reps against the Lions. I would guess most of the starters will get a lot of time, most of their time there. That's what you go up to Detroit for. And, see how those practices go, and then maybe he pulls the jersey away from him and getting ready for Saturday in the game. So let's see how those practices go to see if any of these starters get more time this week.
And I remember having a conversation with Phillip Rivers a long time ago, and he said, look, I go to these practices, these joint practices, I get so many more snaps and so much better work than I do on the preseason. I take 10 snaps. So I think what you're saying, JP, is pretty spot on. I think the starters will get a lot of work, particularly on first day. Second day, they'll taper down a little bit. And I would be surprised if they played the preseason game.
You wouldn't play him week 3 either?
I'd play him week 3.
You would?
Just a little bit. Because if you don't play in week 3, you go, 6 weeks without playing a game? And that what do we have from week 1 to week 1? That's a long time. So I would play him some. If I don't play him in this game, I'll play him a little bit in week 3.
Yeah, just to maybe get him a couple drives. Same idea, right? I mean,
you want to tackle. You want defenders tackling.
Yeah.
That's the problem in this league early in the season. No tackle in practice. You don't tackle in joint practices. And if you're not gonna tackle in a game, that means you go a month without tackling. 5 weeks without tackling anybody. Maybe that's why the league likes those 45, 41 games for the season.
Right. People going up and down the field on everybody's points, and that's how it works early in the year. That's Pete Prisco. I'm JP Shadrick. Tony Boselli coming up. The Jaguars headed to Detroit this week after a preseason week 1 win in Dallas over the Cowboys. A couple other notes from the evening on Saturday night. Ross Matisic, the long snapper, has a shoulder issue. Doug Peterson said today he should be fine, but the Jaguars did sign Carson Tinker, who was with the Jaguars for 4 years to begin his career. He's bounced around the NFL. He told me before practice he was actually playing co-ed softball. That's what he was doing. So he got the phone call to come in for a little bit and snap. Maybe he'll get some tape in a game, and who knows? That's kind of how it works. If you have that skill as a snapper, that's pretty valuable. Those reps come in. Can win or lose you a football game. Yes.
You never find out how valuable those guys are until you don't have one on game day.
Right.
My God.
Yeah, that's what happened on Saturday night, right?
Yeah. They couldn't. It makes for better season games when you go for it all the time.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that would be right up your alley, right?
Oh, yeah. Just eliminate teams. Get them out of here.
You can get an extra tight end or somebody. You don't need.
Yeah, right. Play football. You don't need kickers and punters. Play football.
We've got plenty ahead. We'll come back and dig into the defense a little bit more. Jags fans want customized Jags furniture for your home? Check out zipchair.com and browse all customizable options. Zipchair, furniture for fans. We're off and running. It's Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. And to celebrate, for a limited time, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an unbeatable 4.99 interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Now is your chance to lock down the rate and get in the game. In 20-plus communities in the best locations in Northeast Florida, Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines and into the game with a game-changing 4.99% offer. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rates available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to DreamfindersHomes.com for more details.
Football and Miller Lite. Duval's greatest pairing. Can cracks and kickoff. Tailgates going well past postgame. Sunday night overtime. Followed by Monday morning pride. Knocking on bar tops for luck. Kicking back on any given Sunday. You never forget the way some things taste. Jags football tastes like Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2023 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
When it comes to water, choose our team, the winning team. Choose CGC Water Treatment. CGC Water Treatment works, and it works for DG too, former Jags QB, David Garrard.
If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Discover the kinetical difference.
Call CGC Water Treatment at 844-CGC-JAGS or visit cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars and your local independent Kinetico dealers.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Cancer patients across the Southeast make Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center in Jacksonville their first choice for treatment. Dr. Jonathan Milquist explains why.
We have so many resources that can help a patient from the very onset, and we just have a degree of unity and cohesive care that is hard to match. It's especially with the tougher cancers that we really excel.
Appointments available now. Call 844-632-2278.
Reconnect with the best version of you at Amara Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, Amara Med Spa is redefining beauty. Offering services such as Botox and filler, Emsculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
Yeah, I thought that first group did a really nice job of putting pressure on the quarterback, whether it was five and really it was four-man rushes. Roy had some really good rushes interior, on the guards. I thought Trayvon did a nice job coming off the edge in the game. So that first unit, you could feel the pocket sort of collapse around the quarterback in those first two drives, and that's what you want to see. It did affect some of the throws. So we were pleased. Good first day for them.
That's head coach Doug Peterson earlier today on a Zoom call with the media, and welcome back. It is Jaguars Happy Hour. It is Monday, heading into week 2 of the preseason. JP Shadrick, Pete Prisco, Tony Boselli coming up shortly. We're on 1010XL AM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube, and I was going to say tweet us, but that's not accurate anymore, Pete. We talked about this last week when you weren't on with us. It's now posts on X, not
Post on X.
Tweets on Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, we change everything every year, right? Does it really matter? It's the same thing. Everybody freaks out about, oh, my gosh, how dare we? Same thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And we got plenty of posts on X we'll get to a little bit later with the Fanatics fan questions, which are always a hit with you and Tony. That's how that goes. Defense, we touched on some of this group a moment ago. The real starters in this group got, 9 snaps? Hard to take a whole lot away from the outside. But Doug Peterson did confirm today that Jadeveon Clowney was in the building yesterday. Didn't have a lot to say about it. Do they need to go do something like that? I mean, is it too early for that? Maybe they're just dipping their toe in the water to see for later. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they're dipping their toe in the water. The guy had 2 sacks last year. Is he going to amp up their pass rush? He had Myles Garrett on the other side. He had 2 sacks. He's not a great pass rusher. He's a good, sound, solid, tough football player, but he's not a great pass rusher. So if you're sitting there thinking he's going to amp up the pass rush, I don't mind. I think it's more of an indictment, by the way, of Chason than it is of Abdullah, because I think Abdullah was good the other night.
How was Chason?
Really good.
Was Chason good?
He's okay. Nothing major. No, but I do think Abdullah is good enough to be in the rotation. And again, working against a backup, so we got to temper it a little bit. But he is good enough to be the backup. But has Chason shown anything? They keep raving about him all summer. Have you seen it?
Yeah. No, no. I mean, it's been one game, right? I mean, to his, it's been 2 weeks of camp, and how many snaps did he play in the game? So
yeah. How many did he play?
I'm looking. Hang on. It's the sample size. Well, now also the other argument is that he's had 3 years of sample size, right?
Right. And they need more of the pass rush. We know that. That has to happen. But is he the answer?
He played 12 snaps.
Yeah, and I thought Jordan Smith showed some stuff later in the game.
And that would be a heck of a story, right? Guy has had 2 different injuries, missed a lot of time, has not played in a game yet. It's like year 3, right?
Yeah, and he flashed late again, though. He's working against somebody who's not going to be in the league. So it's hard to gauge it, which is why I always go back to kind of when the ones are working against the ones, and that's when you get a real idea. But they didn't have any of them because the Cowboys didn't have any ones. So it's tough evaluation. But I thought Walker had a nice rush, but when it came? When he sliced inside. It was a move. It wasn't winning with his hand. Though he did later in the game, he had one where it seemed like he was better with his hand. So that's important. But you mentioned the down guys did some good things rushing the passer. I think Boyd's going to be more active rushing the passer, which I think is a good thing. And they're going to get creative. That's how they're going to have to manufacture pass rush. Here's another, JP. Yeah. Stop the damn run. If you stop the run and put teams in passing situations and have an explosive offensive play with the lead, your pass rush is better.
That's exactly how it works, and they feel like they've got the interior defensive line guys to be sturdy up front. They've paid enough money to that group where they better feel that way, and they've got the league's leading tackler behind them. So, and they feel like they're pretty strong at safety, so strong up the middle on all 3 layers of the defense. That's at least the feeling going in.
You mentioned that the down guys and how much money they put into that position because there's a lot of money invested there.
Huge.
Hamilton was outstanding last year. Roy Robertson-Harris at the beginning of the season was really good. Middle of the season, not so good. Down the stretch and in the postseason, really good. So he's got to play like that all year. Fatukasi was hurt.
Yep.
And he didn't play very well.
They're raving about him this camp, though, Pete. Fatukasi.
Yeah, I know. So that makes sense. If he plays like they expect him to play, then those 3 guys are set. And that's a good group, which will help choke off the run, which will enable teams to be in third down passing situations, which you could turn your pass rushes loose. Even if they're not great, you should be able to get them.
3rd and 8 is much different than 3rd and 4 in this league, Pete.
Yeah. And I think Mike Caldwell, another year running the defense will be better for him. Scheming things up. He knows these guys better. They know him better. He knows who to do certain things. Remember, he was kind of flying by the seat of his pants last year. So I think he's going to be better. He has to be better. And if he's better, they're as a group will be much better rushing the passer as well.
We'll see what happens on that one. Hey, there were some good performances deeper in the game, Pete, especially in the secondary. A guy he actually was pretty early in the game. Gregory Jr., second-year corner, has a fumble recovery on the special teams play. Ross Matisic didn't officially. He did force it. He didn't get credit for it. He should. Tim Jones got the credit for the forced fumble. But Jr. recovered it. And then later, he goes down later in the first quarter and strips the ball out at the 1-yard line from the receiver and saves a touchdown. He's one of those guys that was pointed out by the coaching staff last week as really having a chance at that third corner spot. So you keep having performances like this where you're around the football, on the football, part of takeaways, no matter how they come. That's a great sign for him.
Yeah, but recovering a fumble on a kickoff on a punt is an accident.
Okay.
I mean, you can't count
That's
that.
fine.
He made a great play, a great hustle play on the play where he knocked the ball loose. And by the way, Thomas made a great play in the hustle play to go recover it, too.
He certainly did, yes.
Yeah, he was on the other side of the field when you watch the 22 tape, and he came flying over there. He could easily quit on that play, and he didn't. But here's the thing that's going to decide whether Junior's the nickel. Can he cover? Period. Not punching the ball out, not diving on fumbles. Can you cover in a man-to-man situation? Because in a zone situation, Trey Herndon can do it.
Yeah.
The problem with Trey is when they play man-to-man, he has issues with it.
Can the rest of them play man?
That's to be determined. You won't know until you play really good slot receivers. The young guys have flashed in camp. Laswell's done some good things. Howlett's done some good things. And Junior's been better. But again, when you're lining up against the top-tier slot receiver, and he's got a two-way go on, can you handle it?
Yeah, I mean, they do it every day, right, with Christian Kirk out there against them in theory.
That's good work for you. That's good work for you. But, again, diving on a fumble, on a punt, punching the ball loose, isn't going to decide. That's good football play.
Yeah.
That means he's playing good football, and he's around the ball. It's not going to decide who wins that job.
In theory, if whoever wins the gig is not the best man corner, do you have to adjust your entire scheme otherwise? Or is that kind of set?
So what you're saying is if
the
Trey
outside
Herndon's
guys. Can the outside guys, right.
If Trey Herndon's the nickel corner again, do you have problems if you try and get man-to-man situation?
Right.
Basically what you're saying. Yeah. Probably try and keep away from keeping them in those situations as much as possible. But that's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's hard to do. That's why you love to have a guy who's capable of matching up in the slot. And you have enough young guys that can do it. At least have a chance to be able to. I don't buy on. Trey's a good, feisty little player, but you're limited. You can't run. And when you can't run, hard to cover man in the slot.
And this is why they drafted these guys the last 2 years in the deeper rounds to see if they could maybe mine somebody into doing it. So who knows? We'll see what happens. That's what training camp and the preseason games are for. The start of the NFL season is just around the corner, and we can't wait for you to be back at the bank. The Jags entertain the Dolphins in the preseason finale August 26th. Lock in your seats now. Call 633-2000 or visit jaguars.com/tickets. We're back in a moment. Back to the offense and the running game got going in Dallas. It's Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. And to celebrate, for a limited time, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an unbeatable 4.99 interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Now is your chance to lock down the rate and get in the game. In 20-plus communities in the best locations in Northeast Florida, Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines and into the game with a game-changing 4.99% offer. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rates available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to DreamfindersHomes.com for more details.
Are you ready to elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans? Citrus Distillers, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is excited to announce the 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Now available at Total Wine and other participating retailers. Elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans. The 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Duval!
Tackle your marketing needs with Kessler Creative. Providing direct mail services for more than a decade, Kessler has a wide range of services from small mailers to large banners and signs. Draft Kessler as your first pick to receive the best targeted mail list. Elevate your business and be on the winning team with Kessler Creative. Kessler Creative, results-driven marketing and proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Hey Jags fans, stop dreaming of creating your game day fan cave and build the Jaguars den of your dreams with ZipChair. When it comes to maximum comfort, ZipChair.com is the only place for officially licensed Jaguars recliners, sofas, bar stools, office and gaming chairs, all featuring high-quality embroidered Jags logos. Crack open a few cold ones in the comfort of a ZipChair and make your home the place to be on game day. Head over to ZipChair.com and save 20% today. Use code JagsRadio at checkout. ZipChair.com, furniture for fans.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
It's great. We had a couple. Obviously, it was such a small, like you said, sample size. It's different when you play a full game and you get different looks and you kind of progress as the game goes and you kind of get settled in. Obviously, you can see more, but I thought he did a great job. Had some nice catches today. I thought we were really efficient when we did decide to throw the ball today. Obviously, besides the interception, so I think those were positives. I think we ran the ball well, but a couple plays here and there, a couple negatives. Some, and that, like I said, the 3 and out wasn't great, but yeah, we're going to keep getting better, and he's going to keep getting better.
Trevor Lawrence, of course, Jaguars quarterback after the game in Dallas Saturday, asked about Calvin Ridley and the few snaps they had together in the game against Cowboys. And welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour on 1010XL AM, Jaguars.com, and Jaguars YouTube. Hit us up on X. Some posts on X at JP Shadrick, at Prisco CBS, at Tony Boselli. Tony coming up in just a little bit. And let's start with Ridley in his debut with the Jags, preseason debut, Pete, was running open a couple of times. We saw the one on the interception. Also had a couple of catches in the game. Now, obviously, the coverage is different. There's not a lot of that going on. It's not planned out. So he's moving around like you had thought he would. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and then you saw him in practice play in the slot some inside of Perk, which I thought was interesting, and I think they're going to use him in that role more. You try and create matchups in this league, wherever you put him. And I think he's got the speed that scares the hell out of everybody. So I get it. I like moving him around. It wasn't a dynamic night for him, but you've seen it all summer. I saw it when I was there. The man can run. He can run routes. And I think at times almost he goes too fast. And you have to harness it a little bit. I think he's starting to get into that a little bit. You see the great receivers, they know how to harness that speed. I think early in camp, he was going so fast. But, man, he's got a great combination of speed and the ability to run routes. And that's going to be tough to defend. And you only saw a little bit of that. I know you guys are going up there. It could be great to see him this week against the Lions because I think there's an opportunity to show what he really can do.
Yeah, how good is the Lions secondary, Pete?
Better. They went out and spent money on it, so they got to be better. They added, they drafted your Alabama Branch, who's been really good this year. They signed Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, so they've added pieces to that secondary, so it's better. It'll be a much better test for him.
Branch is like a heat-seeking missile, Pete. Like he just.
Well, remember all he did at Alabama plays, and then he got pinged because he wasn't timed at a great time, and everyone wondered what could he do? Is he a safety? Is he a hybrid? Does he play nickel? He's just a good football player.
He's just always around the ball, right?
Right. Find a way to get him. So I think that'll be a good chance for Ridley to go show people what he can really do.
Looking forward to that coming up. Obviously, Christian Kirk had the touchdown catch in the back of the end zone. Zay Jones got his 2-point play. They gave a look to Ingram officially. He didn't have a catch in the game. Some guys later in the game had a couple catches as well. Cooks, Stray Jenkins, Seth Williams, Snoop out of the backfield had a couple catches in the game. Brenton Strange had 2 also for a short yardage. So
some of those young receivers look pretty good, though.
They're the big guys. There's a bunch of tall guys that are like on the 6'5", 6'7", maybe on the bubble of making this team, Pete.
You've been there more than me, but has Jenkins flashed that kind of ability?
A little bit. It felt like this was more than he did in practice to me, just first glance. Not that he hasn't.
Had some opportunities in that game. Didn't catch any balls, but he had some opportunities, and he's had a good summer.
Yeah, the tall guys like Cooks is one of those guys that is like 6'4" or something. I mean, they're massive, and they don't have that
because you got to figure the four are definite, right? You got the three starters and Agnew. You're going to have the kid from Penn State. He didn't catch a pass. He's going to return a punt, so he's going to be on it.
Right, Parker Washington, yes.
Right. So then you got to pick a sixth receiver.
So it's, a guy like Tim Jones has been around here, right? Special teams ace. I talked to him the other week. He understands what this is. Like, they've got enough receivers here. He's got to really perform on special teams to make this team,
and that could decide who gets it.
He's the incumbent, right? So it kind of makes sense. So if a guy like Elijah Cook, 6'4", 215, comes in and can play on a gunner and do all that stuff, fine. Jacob Harris is another guy. He's 6'5", 211, Pete, and he's a third-year player out of Central Florida. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
Special teams will decide that position.
Absolutely.
No question. The other guys you can put on the practice field because nobody's probably picking them up.
Yeah, right? I mean, that's what it is. It's exactly what it is.
And you hope you develop them. Unlike, Josh Oliver walking off into the sunset or Alan Lazard walking off into the sunset.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. It's only two. It's a longer list than that.
Yeah, I know. We can keep going.
Yeah, we got 2 hours, unfortunately, to fill that time. Hey, running game. We saw Snoop Conner on the graphic on Jaguars.com for a couple of receptions in the game, but Tank Bigsby had that 34-yard run. It was really blocked up well on the right side of the line by the tight ends. He bounced it out, and then you could see his open field speed once he was out there, Pete. He's got a little something to him. Dearness Johnson's been around the league. 5 carries, 31 yards in the game, including a 26-yarder. Travis Etienne Jr., 5 for 22, and then Snoop had 7 carries in the game. But, hey, I think they were in situations Saturday. They wanted to see some short yardage with Tank, see what he had to offer, because that was kind of the resume with him a little bit at Auburn, that he's not afraid to go up in there. And I don't think they converted every single one of those situations, but you want to at least know that it's there if you need it, and maybe it's something to work on moving ahead.
Well, didn't they have the third one and he got blasted?
Yeah,
and he didn't get it.
That's right.
He's got to get that. It was a guy in a hole. He's got to win that. He's got to win that. But I was impressed with him, and he's been impressive all camp. I mean, he's a tough physical runner, and he has the speed to kind of run away from guys. So the question becomes, how do you use it? And
right.
You don't want to take too many carries away from ETN, but you got to take some. But I thought ETN at the end of last year learned how to run. He learned how to run tougher. Remember, he didn't take as many shots. He learned how to turn his body and pull.
Well, the first half of the season last year, Pete is like heads over heels, like feet are flopping.
Rookie JP.
Oh,
remember, he was essentially a rookie.
Yeah,
he didn't understand the speed of the game.
Yeah.
So, how do you use Bigsby? Is Bigsby the short yardage guy? Does he come in and spot him for a series or two? I think that's how you use him. But he's an impressive kid. And here's the other thing: your team gets better when you might have to cut a guy who was on the team a year ago. And that's a good sign. I mean, you feel for the kid if it's Connor. I mean, you don't want to cut guys like that. But if you're getting a young draft pick and he's better, you're going to be in that situation.
Yeah, right. And, I mean, Snoop Conner last season had very little play on offense and didn't do much on special teams at all. So, hey,
so
you got to contribute.
You're going to have to make a decision. It's going to be a tough decision there. Again, they're going to be better running the ball in short yardage situation because of Bigsby, Porter's bigger, Sheriff's healthy, and the tight ends can block the catch. That's going to be important for them.
Hey, by the way, Ben Barch was back at practice today, Pete. I think they're actually they just finished, I think, about 10 minutes ago. They had an afternoon practice today, but I was out there for stretch. And speaking of that interior offensive line, which we'll get to more offensive line coming up with Tony, but, hey, Barch, after about the 10-month mark with the knee injury, was out there, and he was playing pretty well early in the season, and having that big body out there could help that.
Well, Hance played okay at left guard the other day. It wasn't great, but he's physical enough. They have bodies now. You look at it, they have bodies because Hance can play tackle too. He's done that. He spotted him before at teams. You have Shatley, of course. The rookie did some good things, physical. He missed a few blocks, missed a few assignments. He did some good things. And I'm sure Tony, I watch it, but I'm sure Tony will agree with me in a lot of this. And then the backup center actually did some pretty good things. So they had guys, and Wells was good. Dare I say, he might have been the best tackle the other night.
Well, he's 10 years in. He better be pretty good, right?
But that's nice for me because he hasn't been good all career. But he was good the other night. And so, you know who wasn't great the other night?
Who?
Cam Robinson.
Really?
I didn't think he was.
Why?
He gave
How?
a couple pressures. Gave up a couple. Didn't look as good as he's in the past. They're going to have a tough decision to make. They really are. And I was there a couple weeks ago. Gene Fournette wrote something saying that the offensive line coach said Cam Robinson was going to get work at left guard. Has that materialized at all?
The Cam Robinson stuff, I haven't seen it.
Okay.
But I haven't been out I haven't watched every snap. I know Walker certainly has, yes.
So they're going to have a tough decision. When Tony gets there, we're going to talk to him about this. We both think along the same lines, but they're going to have a tough decision to make when Cam Robinson gets there. He was in the game in the fourth quarter with a bunch of third-teamers.
Yeah, right? Exactly. That's the way it's been, I think, a lot in practice, too. I mean, if Walker Little is getting the number one reps, sometimes somebody's going to get the rest of them. And that's what it is. You got to get your guy ready for the regular season opener.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting 4 weeks to start the season.
And you know how this goes, Pete. Like, football happens, a month of football happens, and it might just naturally take a turn. Like, you don't know. I don't want it to happen that way, but
where does it take the turn? Does the rookie go bad at right tackle, and then you have to move Walker Little over there?
Or God forbid there's an injury or something crazy happens like that, or the guard's playing great, you don't want to move him, then okay, then it becomes a decision.
What if the left tackle isn't playing well? Which I don't think so. I think he's good. I think he's going to be good.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't play well, then you got to start thinking about the future.
Right. And then it's like a bigger question. It's not just this season. It's
I broke that topic, Doug, when I was there, and they don't want to worry about the future. They want to worry about now.
Yeah. It's a little early for that, I think.
I mean, me, I'm always looking to the future.
Right. They haven't even suited up for week 1 yet. So
but you got to look at all the scenarios, JD. That's what I do.
I mean, but and that's what I'm sure the GM has probably thought about this at some point.
No.
But he's not going to admit it. It's training camp. Like, we're out here now.
Admit it.
What would he?
Well, here's the thing.
He's got confidence in his guy. They're going to play well, right?
Cam Robinson makes a lot of money. But just because you pay him a lot of money doesn't necessarily mean he's got to go back into the lineup. And that's where you're going to get that's the touchy situation right there.
True.
You had a guy making $16 million?
It's a lot.
And he was working with the threes in the fourth quarter.
It's a lot. But hey, if the line is mauling people in the first 4 weeks,
okay, let's say that. Play that one out.
Let's just say they're mauling people, and forget the record, right? Let's just say they are running the ball.
Mauling people.
What's that?
3-1 in the mauling people.
And they're mauling people. They're running the ball. They're great on short yardage. The quarterback's been clean for the most part. Why would you change that?
I wouldn't. I would not. I'm with you 100%. And here's the other part of that. They're going to be in London, so he's going to have to fly to London and join them against Buffalo. So in that scenario, he doesn't play 5 weeks probably.
Well, I mean, they do have first-class seats, Pete. It's not like he's going to be sitting coach.
You're not with the team.
Right.
You're not working with the offensive line. You got a cohesive unit that's now working well together. Do you take Walker Little out?
Yeah,
I don't.
That's a good point. And you're right. It's in London. It would be at one of those countryside resort hotel places where they have a field set up, but you're out there. And, is that the time to start mixing up the line and doing reps of all places. I don't know.
If it's a group that's playing really well and you're 3-1, no. So that means you go to week 5. So, at some point, maybe it happens, but you also got to start, once you get later in the season, you got to start thinking about next year because he isn't going to be here. Let's be real. He's gone.
Yeah, all that dead money kind of goes away, right?
Yeah, he's dead. He's gone. He's gone. So that means Walker Little has to be your left tackle next year.
So the Jags are home week 6. So week 5, of course, is Buffalo in London, and then week 6 home against the Colts. And then there's a Thursday night game, a quick turn.
Here's the other thing, JP.
Yeah.
The teams that they play the first 4 weeks of the season aren't exactly known for their edge rushers. Right?
Yeah.
Kansas City, they're known for their inside rush with Chris Jones.
Yeah.
He's not even there yet. Week 1, what do you got?
Colts, Indianapolis.
They're not known for their edge guys. They're known for their inside rush.
Houston.
Well, Will Anderson, who knows? He's still a rookie.
Atlanta.
No, they have nothing. So
Buffalo is it, Von Miller.
Buffalo's the first one. And we don't know if Von Miller's going to be back. But they have a bunch of other guys, too. Russo, Bash, Epinesa can rush it, Floyd. So they have guys. But, again, if they play well, first 2 weeks of the season, they're 3-1, why would you make the change?
Yeah, I mean, because it's 3-1 at that point, and then you got 4 weeks, get to the bye week, and maybe reassess then, right? Week 9.
If they're playing well, you're not making a change.
That's what I'm saying. But if for some reason it turns the wrong way, then you can make another decision, right?
You could.
If they're 4-4.
You got to admit, if they're going well on into the middle of the season, pushing toward November, why would you make that change?
Right.
Because he's not going to be here next year anyways.
Right.
I'd love to know if he's getting guard work.
That'd be interesting to see. Absolutely. I'll keep a better eye on that in training camp. So I'll look in Detroit when we'll see how many reps they get because it's going to be.
The offensive line coach said it a couple weeks ago, and I hadn't heard anybody who's seen it.
Yeah. I honestly haven't either, but like I said, I haven't watched every single rep, so I cannot.
And by the way, somebody said trade him, and I'm like, you never know in this league. You got to have those guys. They learned that last year.
Exactly. I mean, interior and out on the outside last year, they had changes.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Hey, plenty more ahead. We'll come back in a moment, and Doug Peterson will discuss Anton Harrison's performance. Speaking of tackles, the rookie from Oklahoma. If you're looking for the MVP of the truck game, then look no further than Ford F-150. Loaded with impressive capability and designed to dominate work, play, and everything in between, this truck makes tough look easy. Your local Ford dealer, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Jet Home Loans.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. And to celebrate for a limited time, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an unbeatable 4.99 interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Now is your chance to lock down the rate and get in the game. In 20-plus communities in the best locations in Northeast Florida, Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines and into the game with a game-changing 4.99% offer. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rates available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to DreamfindersHomes.com for more details.
Reconnect with the best version of you at Amara Med Spa, Northeast Florida's premier luxury medical spa, located in Ponte Vedra, Town Center, Avondale, St. Augustine, and Fernandina. With the most advanced injectors, estheticians, and technology, Amara Med Spa is redefining beauty, offering services such as Botox and filler, Emsculpt Neo, painless laser hair removal, and advanced skincare treatments. Visit theamaramedspa.com and book a complimentary consultation today.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Crown Royals That Deserves a Crown program recognizes local heroes for making a positive impact in the community. The Jaguars and Crown Royal are giving back to those who served this season, celebrating these individuals with the ultimate VIP Jaguars home game experience. Nominate someone who deserves a crown today at jaguars.com/Crown Royal Promotion. Please drink responsibly.
Hello, I'm Dan Fields. If you're in the market for a full-size 8-passenger SUV, look no further than the Defender 130. And with the Defender 90, the 110, and this 130, there's luxury in the right size for everyone. Right, Sammy?
Plus, when you buy or lease from Land Rover Jacksonville, you'll become a member of the Fields Amenities Program with complimentary loaners, car washes, our cafe, and much more, all at no charge.
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gate's frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
Yeah, I thought Anton was another one that you really saw his aggressiveness. You saw his athleticism. Again, some things we can clean up and improve upon. But again, I thought overall he did a nice job. First time out, and really showed the type of player that he is, and obviously the reason why we drafted him.
That's head coach Doug Peterson, of course, on the Zoom call earlier today with the media, rehashing the Jaguars' win in Dallas. Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour. Final few moments of the opening hour with CBS Sports senior writer Pete Prisco. We'll have Tony Boselli coming up in the second hour of this show. We'll say goodbye to Pete. We've got the new studio here at the Miller Electric Center, and we will get everybody back together. We'll get the band back together very soon, Pete.
So I don't get to beat them up.
Yeah,
It's just not the same on a Monday when we're not beating him up, Tony. JP?
Don't ever call me Tony, okay, Pete?
That's a bad one.
I mean, come on. What are we doing here? Like, you can call me anything else you want.
I got to give him credit. He's skinny.
He is really skinny. He's been working at it, man. He was in here last week, Pete, doing push-ups between commercial breaks.
See, and I'm in the process of getting skinny too, but I'm not as skinny as he is yet.
But, Pete, you've been in the weight room, it looks like.
No, I've actually been working out hard, but not lifting a lot of weights. I'm down about 25 pounds.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for
I
you.
want to get even skinnier. But Boselli looks fantastic. Looks like a Shones.
He's got to get that jacket recut again.
No, that's coming. I mean, he got it out weeks ago when he went to Canton. Enough with that. We went through a whole year of that. I mean, 14, 15 years of that. Enough of that. More jacket.
No more. Pete Prisco, of course, CBS Sports senior writer. Tony coming up in just about 6 minutes or so at the 5 o'clock, the second hour. So, all right, Anton Harrison, we touched on him earlier, Pete, and his feet and his ability to move, and he showed a lot of that. Now, granted, he did play a little bit longer than the first team that got 9 snaps, I guess, for a lot of these guys on the first team, not many.
He stayed in longer, though.
Yeah, he
and
did.
Walker Little stayed in for a couple more, another series or
I'm
two.
checking the Anton Harrison had 22 snaps. How about Cooper Hodges played 68 snaps?
And did enough to keep an eye on. He's interesting. He's an interesting player.
He pancaked one guy.
I'm telling you, he's physical. He might be one of those guys you keep around. But Harrison, back to Harrison, I love what I saw from him. Sam Williams is a good player. Dallas is counting on Sam Williams to rush the passer. and he did a nice job against them. So you got to be encouraged by that. And again, this week, you go to Detroit. We know Hutchinson can rush the passer. James Houston can rush the passer. And they have guys who can get after him. So it'll be a bigger test for him from that standpoint this week.
Fun to watch for sure. Where are you this week, Pete? What do you got
I'm here.
coming
I'm
up?
back now, off the road. I
done.
got food poisoning in Green Bay on Tuesday, which was wonderful. And then I sat on a plane for 6 hours on Thursday.
What was it from? Do you remember?
Yeah, you know those little, like, beef jerky kind of like little things that you put with cheese. It was just like a quick snack because we hadn't eaten all day. So I threw a couple in my mouth. I never recovered. It was 12 hours later, and I had to go see the Packers team doctor. They hooked me up.
Oh, no.
And I was supposed to fly at 10:30 in the morning. Needless to say, that flight got pushed out.
Oh, no. It's the worst feeling ever. Can't do
it's
anything.
terrible.
You're
No,
stuck.
you're dizzy, Joe. I was dizzy. I was lightheaded. I had to go out, get out of the hotel room and walk around. I felt awful. And then 6 hours on the plane Thursday, JP. 6 hours. We left Atlanta. We got to Florida. The airport was closed. They turned us around, started going back to Jacksonville. Then they went to Orlando. Finally doing out 6 hours.
Wow. What a story. What a way to close the show, at least the first hour of it. Pete, we'll talk to you again next week after the Jags get home from Detroit.
You got it. Take care, JP.
Pete Prisco, CBS Sports Senior Writer. When we come back, Tony Boselli back with us for the second hour. This is Jaguars Happy Hour on the Jaguars Digital Network.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. And to celebrate, for a limited time, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an unbeatable 4.99 interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Now is your chance to lock down the rate and get in the game. In 20-plus communities in the best locations in Northeast Florida, Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines and into the game with a game-changing 4.99% offer. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rates available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to DreamfindersHomes.com for more details.
Are you ready to elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans? Citrus Distillers, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, is excited to announce the 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Now available at Total Wine and other participating retailers. Elevate your tailgate experience, Jaguars fans. The 2023 Jaguars Limited Edition Whiskey Bottle. Duval!
Your hometown gate now has more ways to save. Introducing My Gate Rewards, a new loyalty program with member-exclusive savings and fuel discounts. Earn points on in-store purchases, take advantage of special offers, and save on products you love. Score free coffee, fountain drinks, pizza, and soft serve with Gate's frequent shopper clubs. Then use your points on savings at the pump. Download the My Gate Rewards app in the App Store today or ask a store associate for more information. Go from good to Gate.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguar sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguar sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguar sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Have you noticed? It's raining a lot in our area lately. That means you can give your sprinklers a break and save some money in the process. Lawns only need water up to twice a week, and that can come from rain. So before you run your sprinklers, remember to watch the weather and wait to water. For more information, visit waterlessflorida.com.
Taylor Dahl here for Renewal by Anderson, You will love your new custom windows and doors. For a limited time, buy 4 windows or patio doors and get the 5th free. The first 50 callers get a free upgrade to TrueScene window screens. Plus, easy payment plans tailored to fit your budget. Offer expires August 31st. Restrictions apply. Renewal by Andersen, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com. License number CGC 1527613.
We know our defense knows our offense, and sometimes it just goes back and forth where not too many people win. But here you get to compete against another team in a controlled environment. You know, your starters are going to get the bulk of the work this week, and you're still evaluating. We're still in training camp and evaluating, but the fact that we get to see a different team, a different structure, those are all things that are beneficial to us as a football team.
Welcome back. It's head coach Doug Peterson earlier today on a Zoom call. Welcome back. It's the second hour of Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings. JP Shadrick with you. We had Pete Prisco, CBS Sports senior writer, in the opening hour of the show. Tony Boselli coming up shortly. The Jaguars coming off a win in preseason week 1, 28-23 over the Dallas Cowboys at AT&T Stadium. That was on Saturday afternoon and evening. Jags starting offense had an interception from Trevor Lawrence in the second throw of the game for him, and then a 3-and-out. But then after getting a possession back on the ensuing punt, fumbled away, recovered by the Jags. Short field, the starting offense went back out there and cashed in a touchdown after that takeaway. And Lawrence finished today 5 of 6 passing, 36 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. The Jags starting defense was solid overall. 2 takeaways on defense, 4 sacks overall in the game. The starting group looked pretty good, though. Most of the starters for Dallas were not out there. Either way, some good work for that group. Reports that Jadeveon Clowney was in the building with the Jaguars Sunday on the off day. Doug Peterson did not have much to say about it today when asked in that media Zoom call. So now it's on to Detroit. Practice Wednesday and Thursday at Allen Park. And then the game Saturday at Ford Field in downtown Detroit. 2 good days of work against a football team that a lot of people feel could be a force in the NFC North. That division has certainly changed over the last year or so with the departure of the quarterback from Green Bay. We'll see if the Lions are ready for prime time. It may not be quite yet. It's training camp, but it'll be at least a couple good days of work. Some talented position groups on both sides of the ball for the Lions, and a good test for this Jags team. We were talking about it with Pete in the first hour. You know, a lot of the Jaguars' first-team players, really on both sides, but let's start with the offense, might get a lot of their time or most of their time in the practices. And if those go well, I'd be curious when Doug Peterson decides, how much do these guys actually play in the game on Saturday at Ford Field. If they put together 2 strong days of work, maybe that's enough for the week because they'll get plenty of reps in the practices both days, and it's a controlled environment. So why risk it to throw the offense back out there for 2, 3, 4 drives, whatever you think you normally might have in week 2 of a preseason, when you've already got the work in that week against another opponent, and the guys in the trenches have had the work. That we'll see what happens. We'll see what Doug Peterson has in mind as the week goes along. I think it's still a little bit too early to figure it out. If for some reason the work isn't great, which I don't expect it to be, but if for some reason doesn't look right or something's going on, maybe then that decision could come to give him some game time. Again, too early to tell. We'll see what happens. Defensively, same idea, right? I think you want to see in Detroit on the practice field some success in those one-on-one pass rush situations against the Lions. The Lions' offensive line's pretty good. The tackles, notably, are good. So a good test, Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker, Yasir Abdullah, who had a good game in Dallas, at least in his first outing, bring it back to the practice field and see if he can move on that. And again, K'Lavon Chaisson, hey, it's time. This is the time to step up and be on this football team and get better in this training camp. And you got to do that in Detroit this week. If they're bringing players in the building to talk to them, well, let's see it. Let's see Caleb Chazon step up in a big way. And even some of the deeper guys on the roster we talked about, who guys who've been banged up and out. I mean, Jordan Smith, it's his third year. He hasn't played a snap out of UAB. Of course, originally went to Florida and then was out of school there, ended up at a junior college, was at UAB in Birmingham. But he's 6'7", 250. He's had 2 different knee injuries. If for some reason he can continue to build and move forward, maybe you have something that not a lot of people expected. It's still, let's call it a long shot. It's what it is. He's going to get an opportunity to go out there and play and continue to get better. Let's see if that can happen this week against Detroit. And then on the back end, right? I mean, this is a Detroit team that has pretty good passing offense, good receivers. Good chance for the secondary to get some looks. They're still trying to figure out that third corner. Is it Herndon? Is it a guy like Gregory Jr., who was around the football a couple of times, at least on takeaways? But can he cover? To Pete Prisco's point, can he consistently cover in the slot? And I think we'll find we'll find out a little bit more. And the more situations you have in an environment like this week in Detroit for a guy like Jr. to step up and continue to play. And the young guys this year. There's really the 2 draft picks from last year late, the 2 draft picks from the later rounds this year as well. You got to see them in live action or as close to live action as you can. Now, those guys will probably get some time in the game no matter what happens on the practice field Wednesday and Thursday, because you need as many eyeballs on them, as many reps as you can with the live action with some of those deeper corners to really get an idea of what you're working with here, and because there is a tough decision to be made in the coming weeks. Not to make it tomorrow, but you'd like to kind of maybe start moving in the direction of a decision at some point, maybe after this week, or at least have a favorite or 2 and see how they finish up the preseason. But at some point, I mean, that right after that third preseason game, I believe it's the Tuesday after, you have to have that 53 down. So which guys are going to make your team? First of all, which guys do you like enough to try to sneak onto your practice squad? Will they make it to your practice squad? These are all factors in building the roster moving ahead. So they've got some work to do. And so the next week ahead, I think, is really key for a lot of areas, because you have a piece of tape now in the Dallas game to start with. You've got the coaching points from that game we can take to the classroom this week, and then get ready for another opponent against the Lions 2 days on the field. This is where the preseason and training camp really turns one way or another for a lot of these guys trying to make the team. They might have had a decent rep or 2 in the game. Build on it, right? Maybe you didn't have such a good game. Okay, well, you have a chance to go back out and perform and get better and see if you can build your resume again in training camp. Tony Boselli with us now, pride of the Jaguars, left tackle, Hall of Famer, all the above. You know him, you love him. Hello, Tony. Good afternoon.
JP, how you doing?
Doing well, man. Getting ready for the Lions game. The Lions practice is coming up, but let's rehash. We had Pete on the first hour. We've got Tony on the second hour. So we'll have a pretty good idea of which hour has the best ratings. I don't know which it's going to be. Well, that's your call.
Well, and sooner or later we'll get Pete and I on for the whole 2 hours once we get this whole new fancy stuff we have going on here. So, yeah, JP, I mean, I was listening to you talk through, and you're a pro. Little monologue off the cuff. Well done, by the way.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a good job. A couple things you said that I find interesting. Is this team at the stage, and maybe it is just because this is how the NFL works today, where you don't give your starting units any reps in the game, even if you are practicing with Detroit for those 2 days? I could see if it was the last preseason game, that would make sense. I mean, we saw that last year in Atlanta where they got good work and then they pretty much said that was it. But this is the second preseason game. I don't think it was a great showing in the first preseason game by that one offense. And the one defense was solid, but they were playing against all backups. And so I'm not sure this team's at the level where I would say, hey, let's have 2 good practices with Detroit and call it a day. I still think they can get reps. I think reps are valuable. You have a young team. You have a receiver in Calvin Ridley who hasn't played football in a year.
Yeah, 2 years almost. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
so how many
years.
would you give him in a game? Would you go a quarter?
I would go a quarter. Now, if you're Doug and Trent, you're always weighing the risk reward. What do you accomplish in that quarter? What do you get compared to the risk of something awful happening? Which the game of football that can happen on the practice field, by the way, is
Sure, absolutely.
it can happen anytime. So I think that's always dangerous to be worrying about. You have to be aware of it, but making worst case scenario what you're going to do, because if that was the case, you wouldn't do anything contact, you wouldn't do anything and just wait to the first game, which nobody is saying that's the right decision. I think reps with this team would be good. I think Trevor getting a few more live reps. It's different. It's different for the quarterback even from sitting at practice, because he knows at practice he can't get hit. Now Trevor's not one you have to worry about shying away from contact. I mean, he is a man who has quite a bit of courage sitting in there and taking shots as he's delivering the ball. So I'm not worried about that, but I think it's good. And I think it's good for the young tackle. I think Harrison has to play. I thought he was good.
Yeah.
I think I would play Walker Little. I get him reps. I mean, he's still a young player who's really only played, a third of a season in the starting position. So now if you wanted to sit out Sheriff, okay. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, sure.
He's a veteran. He's done it 1,000 times. He probably doesn't need another rep to be ready for opening day. Now, knowing him, he'll probably want to be out there. He's that type of guy.
You got to reel him in a little bit. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, you have to reel him in. Now, I just think it'd be good. Now, and I would love to see that starting defense, especially if Detroit's going to play their ones. That's a great test. That's a good offensive line. They have good backs. They have a good quarterback. They have, receivers who can do some stuff. And let's not forget, they beat the what out of us last year up in Detroit.
Put up 40.
So I would be one, regardless of how practice goes, of getting at least a quarter in with my starters. I think that's where I would go.
Tony Boselli with us, of course. So we can touch on that again a little bit later when we keep it real. We'll dig a little more into some of those matchups you'll see on the practice field Wednesday, Thursday, and maybe in the game even on Saturday at Ford Field. But let's rewind a little bit. You touched on Anton Harrison, and Pete and I talked about it in the first hour. Just you're going to have, obviously, a much better answer and analysis on his performance. But, boy, those feet are no lie, Tony. He can move around. That was as advertised.
Oh, he's a great athlete. I mean, he's a fluid big man. And that was, as advertised, JP, I think is the way I would say it. What I also liked, I thought he was – now, it's just the first preseason game. He's playing against backups. But I thought he was more physical in the run game as well. I liked it. I mean, I thought he had a little get off and he was trying to finish blocks. There was urgency to him. I mean, that was – for his first debut in a live action on the field, I thought that was very, very positive. Now – there's some things he needs to clean up in his sets that he gets away with because he's such a great athlete that a better player is going to put stress on him. I mean, there was no stress for him in that game. I mean, Dante Fowler is, was never a great pass rusher and, is older now. So, that wasn't a huge test. It was good to work against a veteran. And some of those younger guys that I couldn't even tell you their names, he's going to be facing – much better caliber player when it counts. But with that said, he did his job. Needs to clean up some stuff on the backside. You got, how he handles the backside, especially on some of those counter runs. But overall, if I was Phil Rauscher, I'd be like, okay, I saw it in practice. I've seen it now on the game field. This kid can play. And the one thing he can do is pass block. I mean, he is athletic. I mean, he's a guy. I mean, he's going to play right this year. But, he can play left. I mean, that's what he did in college.
Yeah,
He's that good of an athlete.
Yeah, he did.
And so that was very positive. Overall, I thought the line was fine. They, probably struggled in the run game a little bit early, but they got it going. And Travis and Bigsby, another positive performance for a young player. Boy, he has some juice, doesn't he?
He does, right? And the way they blocked it up on that big run was huge, and he just bounced it out there and turned on the Jets.
Yeah, he has. There's a 3rd and 1. I'd like to see him maybe get the pad level a little low and get underneath that defender. Maybe he could get that. He only needed a half yard, would have got the first down early in that game. Little things like that. But that's nitpicky. So you look at the rookies, that was positive, I thought. Really positive. And Trevor was fine. It was a dumb mistake early, trying to make something happen.
Well, we were talking about that earlier, Tony. Pete and I mean, just kind of looking at it again, the throw wasn't that off. I mean, Evan Ingram was back there, but the defender who was on Calvin was drifting back and was right there. So,
well, what happened there? It's a scramble situation because Calvin. So it's a levels route. You have Calvin. You have your underneath the first guy. And I can't remember what tight end was. He was shallow. You had the crosser with Calvin Ridley, so he's running across, and then you have the vertical route. The vertical route was Evan, and so the timing was off. There was nothing there, so it got extended. And Calvin, what happens in scramble rules? Certain guys will go back to the ball, certain guys will break it deep. Calvin breaks it deep, which helped that defender be able to kind of drift because Calvin started bending it off. Even with that said, Trevor's got to understand he's got to see that underneath guy, and you throw that where only Evan can get it. And so I'm not against the overall decision, but that's a ball where I'm going to put it somewhere where it's going to take a really nice catch by Evan to go run and get it. And I'm going to take away the negative. It might be an incomplete pass, but it's not going to be an interception. And that ball was just slightly underthrown.
Yeah, a little bit. And Doug Peterson said today it might have slipped out of his hand a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, it was just, but listen, come on. I wouldn't worry about that.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, it's not the start you want, but who cares?
Listen, the coach can't come out and say, "Oh, who cares?" Like he's got to put it out. I mean, that's how it works.
I'm not saying Doug's going to say that, but I'm saying overall, if you look at the big picture, if anything, that's a great learning experience for you. Trevor's still a young player, and so it's like, okay, learn from it, which he has proven he does. And okay, the rest of it, was fine. They didn't do much. They were very, very plain, and there was nothing. There's no creativity and stuff, and then they're behind the 8 ball a little bit because they lose the long snapper, so they're going for it on every 4th down, every 2-point conversion, so on and so forth. But overall, after that, the 3 and out was the only disappointing thing. You want to get it, especially when you're where you are backed up a little bit. You want to get at least for one first down. That was the big negative to me.
Yeah.
You're playing against backups. You don't want to ever go 3 and out with the offense we have. And I think if you're being critical at all, that would be the one point that I would make. And then defensively, first defense was fine. They did a good job. I thought, there were some nice rushes by Robertson Harris.
Yep, it was good.
That was a nice rush. Josh Allen had a nice one-hand bull leverage rush, got push. Trayvon had a good inside move on a twist, got up the ball. Most of it was short drops, so there wasn't a lot of time to get there. So I thought that was good. Devin Hamilton continues to do good things out there. What are you smirking?
No, Devon Hamilton, Devin Lloyd,
or Devon. Well, I always Devin Lloyd. Sorry, that's what I was thinking about. I was going there next with Devin Lloyd.
Right.
So, sorry, Devon Hamilton. Devin, he didn't play a lot of snaps, but he looked way more comfortable.
That's what
even
Pete
in his
said.
drops.
That's what Pete said too. He only played like 9 snaps.
Yeah, but you watched him. It was smooth. Like he was first of all, he made some great plays in the run. He stuffed the fullback. And really physical, And then I just watching his drops, and he didn't have a bunch, like to your point. And so I'm not going to say everything's fixed, but it just looked natural. It
Kind of
didn't look
new.
like
He didn't look like the baby deer with the legs, like trying to
No,
walk.
he got back and made a sure tackle. You know, it was a bang, bang catch, drop right there. It's what you want.
Yeah.
So I thought that was super positive.
Hey,
now,
Tony, let's come back. Let's finish that thought when we come back. We'll finish the linebacker
I want to go to
discussion.
the defense.
We got to talk about the corners too, and especially that third corner spot. There's a lot going on there, but we're up against it now. Jaguars Happy Hour on 1010XL AM, Jaguars YouTube, Jaguars.com. PRI Productions, the official event production company of the Jags, has everything you need to bring your next idea to life. Visit PRIProductions.com. We'll keep it real when we come back as well. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings.
As the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars, Publix is helping fans gear up for game day with the limited-time Jaguars sub. Piled high with hot deli chicken tenders, boar's head bacon, cheddar cheese, coleslaw, and barbecue mayonnaise on a white sub roll. The Jaguars sub is an easy, delicious meal for any fan. Make it an ultimate game day by ordering the Jaguars sub online for in-store pickup. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
America, it's time to gear up and get out there in a new Ford vehicle. And it all starts at your local Ford dealer during the Discover Summer Sales Event. Choose from a great selection of Ford trucks and SUVs equipped with the tech and comfort you need to discover your best summer ever. With a large inventory in stock, now is the best time to trade in, trade up, and discover summer with Ford. This is your time to discover summer at your local Ford dealer.
Hey, Jags fans, Everbank is driven by performance, strength, and security. Start building your legacy today with Everbank's Yield Pledge accounts, all of which deliver a yield in the top 5% of competitive accounts nationwide. Visit everbank.com/Jaguars for your earned advantage. Everbank, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Everyone wins when two great traditions team up. Yucatan Guacamole is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Our authentic guacamole recipe starts with hand-scooped avocados and ends up in your hands fresh and ready to enjoy. Grab some on game day at the Yucatan Cantina or Yucatan nacho carts around the stadium or at local retail stores. Sack your snack game with Yucatan Guacamole.
Crown Royal's That Deserves a Crown program recognizes local heroes for making a positive impact in the community. The Jaguars and Crown Royal are giving back to those who served this season, celebrating these individuals with the ultimate VIP Jaguars home game experience. Nominate someone who deserves a crown today at jaguars.com/Crown Royal promotion. Please drink responsibly.
It's time for sunshine and summer showers, so it's more important than ever to make sure you call Crystal Clean for all your waterproofing needs. Waterproofing can extend the life of your building by keeping water outside where it belongs. And that Florida sun can beat up your business's paint job. Crystal Clean's painting services can bring your building back to life. From waterproofing to painting, schedule Crystal Clean today. Call 904-220-3337 or go to crystalclean.com. You don't have to worry when it's crystal clean.
I mean, we have a lot of depth. This is, since I've been here, definitely the deepest we've been. I would argue every position, but definitely a receiver. We got a lot of really good players. It's going to be tough. It comes down to the end. Who's getting those last spots, and we got a lot of really good players, and that's why preseason's big to see guys who makes the plays. When it counts, when the points go on the board in these real games. So it's cool to see guys making plays. We had a ton of guys make some plays out there tonight. Oliver, Elijah, Jure, a bunch of other guys. Snoop made some good plays. Q on the scramble there at the end, touchdown. Obviously Nate. and a lot of guys on defense too. So it's cool to see those guys battling and doing everything they can.
It's Trevor Lawrence, of course, discussing many of the offensive players making big plays in Dallas. And welcome back. It is Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings. JP Shadrick with Hall of Famer Tony Boselli, recapping the Jaguars' win over the Dallas Cowboys, looking ahead in just a few moments. We'll keep it real when we look ahead to the Detroit Lions. The joint practice is Wednesday, Thursday, then the game, of course, Saturday. Our discussion, Tony, continues on the Jaguars' defensive side, and we were starting with Devin Lloyd, but that also kind of creeps into the Jaguars' secondary too. We know the outside, at least starters at corner. The question is that third corner. And what did you see out of some of the names that were kind of thrown into that group? Gregory Jr., Antonio Johnson's been thrown in there as well by the head coach. Just a couple of names of many who are fighting. Braswell's another guy. I mean, what did you take from the game in Dallas?
Yeah, I mean, and I heard Pete say it earlier. I mean, Gregory Jr. is interesting. I mean, he's obviously a guy who's around the ball, and you saw that in the game against Dallas. There's no doubt about that. But I'm with Pete. Like you'd love to see him cover. Like, I don't remember watching it and seeing a lot of opportunities with him in the slot in like a coverage situation or man-to-man.
Right.
And then you saw at the end of the game the young guy who got the interception does a good job sitting in the zone and kind of reading the quarterback's eyes late in the game. I'm drawing a blank right now. Sorry, JP.
Yeah.
So he made a nice play. You saw Trey Herndon make some nice plays. It looks like they're going to play a lot more zone. That's clear. At least they did in that game. Because, I mean, if Trey's out there, he's good against the run, and he's a smart player. But, I think you get exposed a little bit just because of the speed when you're playing nickel. I mean, when you're playing if you want to play any man coverage. And we know they want to blitz, so that puts, basically your zone blitz team at that point. So I do think it's going to be interesting. I thought, the corners who made the nice break on the ball should have been a pick six.
Tavon Campbell, wasn't it?
Yeah, Tavon Campbell. I think it was Campbell.
29. Yep. Tavon Campbell.
Yep. I thought some of the young guys flashed.
By the way, it was Braswell who had the interception.
Yeah, Braswell. Thank you. He did a good job. It was easy just dropping in the zone, but he does a good job of keeping his eyes on the quarterback from that position. And good break on the ball, and that's what you want to see out there. You want to see guys make plays, react, do what you're asking them to do, and he did it perfectly. So, I mean, I think if you look at it, I mean, who the nickel is definitely a big question mark. I mean, that's going to be one of saying, as you're looking at the roster, you got your two outside guys right now, but who gives you the most flexibility as far as when it comes to coverages? Meaning you're comfortable. I think they're just going to be more comfortable in zone this year overall. That's the feeling you get. And then obviously you want to put in some man schemes in there, but who can play the nickel? I don't think you're going to see a lot of man coverage with Trey Herndon in there. If he wins that job.
Well, in the zone stuff, you got to be able to tackle though, right? Because guys are going to make catches in zone, and then you got to go run and tackle.
Absolutely.
And they didn't do overall last year. They've talked about it. They got to be a better tackling defense as a whole. So.
Yeah, I mean, this defense got good at the end of the year, JP. If you remember, they were good early, pretty good early, and then they got good down the stretch. And what was the common denominator? It was turnovers. It wasn't like they got a bunch of stops, Now, in the Chargers game, they did, obviously. And when they got down a couple times, they got, Ravens, Cowboys, they got stops when they needed to. I'm not taking that away from them by any means, but they became an opportunistic football team, getting the ball on the ground, picking it up, making plays, and that's great. It's hard to count on that, though, throughout the season. You want to be a ball hawking team. You want to strip the ball. And you saw that again against Dallas. I thought they did a good job with that. But you guys still, who's going to be the disruptor? Who's going to disrupt on defense, and that's the big question mark. Now, we didn't get a chance to see much because it was early, but that's what I'm looking forward to the practices in Detroit. I want to see how our front seven goes against a good offensive front.
All right,
a well-coached.
That leads us, Tony. It's like you've done radio before. That leads us into Keeping It Real, presented by Woodbridge by Robert Mondavi. Open up a winner today. Real Ingredients, award-winning wine by Robert Mondavi. You could be a producer, Tony. That's how apt that lead-in was to this segment. What matchup are you most excited to see in Detroit this week? Is it the Lions' defensive line versus the Jags' O-line? Is it Jaguars rushers against the Lions tackles? Or is it Mark Brunell versus Tony Boselli?
Well, it's not the last one, so we can take that off the board. The only part I'm looking forward to is just hanging out with my good friend a little bit and seeing him out on the field, and hopefully maybe after hours spend a little bit of time with him, having a couple bottled waters and talking shop. It's a great question because I want to see both. I want to see Aiden Hutchinson against both Walker Little and Anton Harrison. I mean, that's going to be fun. That'll be good. And they got that other rookie last year, like a 5th or 6th rounder, who ended up hitting Trevor Lowe. If you remember, hit Trevor Lowe late in that game.
Oh yeah, that's right. He went out.
He was a sneaky good pass rusher. If you look, he didn't get a lot of reps and came on late in the year. And I think he got like 6 or 7 sacks by the end of the year.
Come on, James Houston? Was it Houston?
Yeah, Houston.
James Houston.
You know, he's an undersized guy, but really good leverage, good speed. He was a little bit of a problem for us last year, if you remember that.
I do.
And it wasn't just for us. He had some production in the back half of that year for the Lions on defense without a lot of reps. But I want to see Aiden Hutchinson against those two.
Or was it Josh?
And
was it him or was it Josh Pascal? There was 2 of them. They had 2 edge rushers in the draft.
What was it? What number was Houston? I think it was Houston.
Gosh, I don't remember. Hang on.
Okay, sorry, I'm asking questions you don't. So that's that will be fun. And then seeing Josh Allen and Trayvon Walker against Panay and Decker. They're 2 good tackles. And Panay, you know, just reading stuff up there, has had a really good camp. And saw, you know, he's an athletic big man coming out of Oregon, rookie 2 years ago. He's a good player. And so I'm looking forward to seeing that. That'll be a lot of fun. And that'll be a good test for both Trayvon and Josh because those are Decker and Panay are 2 good tackles. I mean, they're really good players.
Yeah.
And if we can get something going there, one-on-one, the one-on-one pass rush will be fun. But then, you know, in team situations, you know, they're going to run a 2-minute drill, stuff like that. I'd like to see us get some wins because I think that, you know, build some confidence and get a good mindset going in.
Hey, by the way, James Houston 10 is number 41 for them, and for the season last year had 10 tackles with 8 sacks.
Yeah,
that's the guy.
That's the kid.
Yeah,
that's the kid.
Out of Jackson State.
He's a natural pass rusher. So I think, you know, I know keeping it real, I'm supposed to pick one, but I'm going to take both. I want to see. To me, it's watching the line, both lines, because you have Detroit's done a good job, especially offensive line. Aiden Hutchinson, obviously, the big conversation last year was him or Trayvon. We took Trayvon. Hutchinson had a nice rookie year, was productive, and I think it'll be interesting to see, you know, how our young tackles match up against a good pass rusher. And then the Houston kid, you know, 8 sacks. How many guys on our team had 8 sacks last year?
None. Right? None.
No.
None of the above. That was Keeping It Real, presented by Woodbridge by Robert Mondavi. Open up a winner today. Real Ingredients, award-winning wine by Robert Mondavi. And we'll come back with Fanatics fan questions. All Tony, all the time, in hour number 2 of Jaguars Happy Hour, presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings.
America, it's time to gear up and get out there in a new Ford vehicle. And it all starts at your local Ford dealer during the Discover Summer Sales Event. Choose from a great selection of Ford trucks and SUVs equipped with the tech and comfort you need to discover your best summer ever. With a large inventory in stock, now is the best time to trade in, trade up, and discover summer with Ford. This is your time to discover summer at your local Ford dealer.
Everyone wins when two great traditions team up. Yucatan Guacamole is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Our authentic guacamole recipe starts with hand-scooped avocados and ends up in your hands fresh and ready to enjoy. Grab some on game day at the Yucatan Cantina or Yucatan nacho carts around the stadium or at local retail stores. Sack your snack game with Yucatan Guacamole.
Crown Royal's That Deserves a Crown program recognizes local heroes for making a positive impact in the community. The Jaguars and Crown Royal are giving back to those who served this season, celebrating these individuals with the ultimate VIP Jaguars home game experience. Nominate someone who deserves a crown today at jaguars.com/Crown Royal promotion. Please drink responsibly.
It's time for sunshine and summer showers, so it's more important than ever to make sure you call Crystal Clean for all your waterproofing needs. Waterproofing can extend the life of your building by keeping water outside where it belongs. And that Florida sun can beat up your business's paint job. Crystal Clean's painting services can bring your building back to life. From waterproofing to painting, schedule Crystal Clean today. Call 904-220-3337 or go to crystalclean.com. You don't have to worry when it's crystal clean.
Taylor Dahl here for Renewal by Anderson. You will love your new custom windows and doors. For a limited time, buy 4 windows or patio doors and get the 5th free. The first 50 callers get a free upgrade to TrueScene window screens. Plus, easy payment plans tailored to fit your budget. Offer expires August 31st. Restrictions apply. Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com. License number CGC 1527613.
Cancer patients across the Southeast make Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center in Jacksonville their first choice for treatment. Dr. Jonathan Melquist explains why.
We have so many resources that can help a patient from the very onset, and we just have a degree of unity and cohesive care that is hard to match. It's especially with the tougher cancers that we really excel.
Appointments available now. Call 844-632-2278.
Ross injured his right shoulder, on the special teams play, making the tackle there. He's going to be fine. He'll just be a little bit sore. He's kind of day to day, and we'll see how he is in Detroit, this week. But probably leaning towards holding him out if he's sore. I don't want to have any setbacks with him at this point. But day to day, we'll see where he is at the end of the week.
That's head coach Doug Peterson earlier today, asked about the long snapper Ross Matisic, who made a forced fumble, and then that's where he hurt his shoulder. Day-to-day, but apparently day-to-day enough to sign Carson Tinker, who was on the street. Former Jaguars long snapper is back. He was on the practice field today. And it was funny, Tony, before practice today, I'm out there, I walk out, because practice was this afternoon. I didn't get to stay for the whole thing. I had to come in for the show. I'm out there right before stretch. There's a lot of guys out there early, and there's, Josh Peterson's out there again trying to just kind of snap a few just to, whatever. This is not, the coaches aren't around yet. This is before stretch. And here comes the rookie fullback from Houston, to try a few, and here comes like another tight end. Hey, let me get everybody all of a sudden wants to try a long snap, and then Carson Tinker walks out. It's like, yeah, I'm the long snapper, guys. We're good. You guys are okay. It's all good. But you got to have one.
Right now, if I was a fullback or a backup tight end, I would spend a whole offseason to figure out how to snap, because, it's a tough situation for Josh Peterson that he was put into.
Absolutely.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Doug was going. Doug was probably saying to himself, like, okay, I don't need to have a bad operation and get my punter or anyone hurt back there. And secondly, I don't need to go home and hear from his mom that I put her son out there in a bad situation on TV.
Over and over and over again, right?
And over and over again. I appreciate what Doug did. I'm like, you know what? It was the right football decision for the team.
Yeah.
And it was probably the right, which thankfully it worked out as the right decision for going home that night too. So it was a tough situation for Josh, but like a perfect example. I mean, this is something, we're talking about Josh Peterson at this point, but if you're a backup tight end or a fullback or something, I mean, just think about this. Let's say Josh, it's a skill and not everyone can do it. So I'm just using Josh as an example here. But if he would have gone out there and been 90% of what the starter was, Ross was, well, now all of a sudden you're like, whoa, wait a second. This guy has value because he has the ability to fill a gap and if he's, good enough tight end, and maybe it comes down to him and someone who might be just slightly better than him, but he has a skill that gives us comfort at night. And that's the same thing for the young fullback or any of those guys going out there. I think it's smart. I would tell any young guy who's, fighting to make a roster, go learn how to long snap. And if you can do it, take the time and get good at it, because that gives you the ability to be versatile. Look at Shatley. Shatley has made a career.
Yes.
And now he started last year and did a good job as a starter, in my opinion. But he's the backup long snapper. You have confidence he can do that. He can play center. He can play both guards. He's reliable. You know that he's not going to go out there and kill you, in the sense of he knows what to do. He's solid. He's a good football player. And he's had a long career and done very well for himself because of that versatility. So I think it's a lesson for every young player. You never know what's going to happen, and if you have utility at multiple positions, you've made yourself much more valuable.
There's no doubt about that, but it still takes time, and you're right, Tony.
Oh, it's hard.
If you have that skill, though, not everybody has that skill. That's why you go out and get a guy on the street who's playing co-ed softball. Like, okay, well, bring him in because he can snap.
You know what? I felt terrible for Josh Peterson. I was sitting there watching that game going, I am rooting hard for this kid.
Yeah, no doubt.
I was hoping he could just sling it back there, and because it's a tough situation. You're fighting, this is your dream to play football. And people are out there like, oh, you're out here because your dad's the head coach and all that nonsense. It's a bunch of, crap. He wouldn't be out there if he couldn't do it. And so I was rooting hard for him. I'm like, come on, let him sling one back there. And then he sailed that one and it was clear from that point on, Doug made the decision. It's like, we are going for it. If it's even like, I don't care, unless we're backed up inside our own probably 30 or 20, which they never ended up happening. They were going to go for it.
Yeah, that's right.
Regardless, because it's just not the risk, because you're asking someone to do something that they're not comfortable with. And that's tough. That's not fair. A good coaches never ask a player to do something they just aren't prepared to do.
Right, because it affects so many other people too, right? I mean, it affects the punter, okay?
Well,
and then all of a sudden there's guys illegally downfield. There's a penalty. It's like all that combines.
Well, because it's not just snapping. It's snapping. It's protection. It's everything else. And now you're putting one of your better players, your punter, who's a great player.
Yeah,
he does so much, and like, why would you risk that? So I thought it was really smart by Doug to make that decision, and it was tough. But you know what? That's what preseason's for, and no harm, no foul. You go get Carson Tinker, a guy who can do it, and we'll see what's Ross's status is.
Yeah,
see how that shoulder's doing.
It seems like Doug Peterson made it seem like it wasn't a long-term issue for Matisic. So, and at least for Carson Tinker, hey, let's get a game on tape and see what happens. The team sees him still. Is he still out there? And then you never know as the season goes along. And We'll see what happens there, but Tinker's there to handle it at least this week moving ahead. We'll come back in a moment, Tony. We'll wrap the show this week with Fanatics fan questions. Of course, the Jaguars and the Lions coming up with practice 2 days, Wednesday and Thursday, then the game this Saturday at Ford Field in Detroit. And if you're a Jags fan who's always on the move, we've got the perfect plan for you. It's our Bundle at the Bank. You can purchase tickets to 3 or more games starting at just $58 per game. Get the flexibility you want for your time this fall. Visit jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. This is Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings.
Crown Royal's That Deserves a Crown program recognizes local heroes for making a positive impact in the community. The Jaguars and Crown Royal are giving back to those who serve this season, celebrating these individuals with the ultimate VIP Jaguars home game experience. Nominate someone who deserves a crown today at jaguars.com/Crown Royal promotion. Please drink responsibly.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
America, it's time to gear up and get out there in a new Ford vehicle. And it all starts at your local Ford dealer during the Discover Summer Sales Event. Choose from a great selection of Ford trucks and SUVs equipped with the tech and comfort you need to discover your best summer ever. With a large inventory in stock, now is the best time to trade in, trade up, and discover summer with Ford. This is your time to discover summer at your local Ford dealer.
Jaguars fans, Everbank is building its future on the partnership and the performance you know and trust. Take advantage of high-yield savings solutions with money market, online savings, CDs, and more. Visit everbank.com/Jaguars today for your financial advantage. Everbank, member FDIC, and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
When it comes to water, choose our team, the winning team. Choose CGC Water Treatment. CGC Water Treatment works, and it works for DG too, former Jags QB, David Garrard.
If you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Discover the kinetical difference.
Call CGC Water Treatment at 844-CGC-JAGS or visit cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars and your local independent Kinetico dealers.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything. Welcome back. It's Jaguars Happy Hour presented by Mr. Chubby's Wings. Final few minutes. JP Shadrick with Hall of Famer Tony Boselli. We had Pete Prisco in the first hour. The Jaguars and the Lions coming up. 2 days of practice, Wednesday, Thursday at Allen Park, and then Ford Field, the site for the game Saturday. A 1 o'clock kickoff in the preseason. Pretty nice. Early day. The team will get back in a decent hour Saturday night. Hey, Tony, the AP Top 25 preseason came out. College football, right around the corner, Tom.
Where was SC?
SC was sixth.
Yeah, I think they're pretty good. That quarterback's good now.
Quarterback's really
Caleb
good.
Williams.
Yes, really good. It's their last
And
year.
they got a bunch of transfers, in this new world of free agency in college football. couple of SEC guys, a couple of Georgia guys won.
I mean, the quarterback's a transfer from 2 years ago. Come on.
Oh yeah, I mean Lincoln Riley's not afraid to go out and snatch players from other places.
Yeah, I think the wide receiver was too. I mean, the whole thing is that's the way of the world now.
Yeah, it's not the college football you and I grew up with, JP.
Georgia is number 1, looking for a three-peat. There's only been officially one team, or the last team to do it. Let's put it this way: it was in the 1930s. Minnesota won 3 straight championships. It's been a while.
Yeah,
Michigan.
They didn't even play everyone, but I mean, it wasn't even a real.
Right,
you had no idea.
No. Michigan, Ohio State, Alabama, 2, 3, and 4. All right, let's do it. Let's do the Fanatics fan questions to wrap up the show. Jags fans, gear up at Fanatics.com with all latest Jags styles. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything. We put the cat signal out earlier on X. Here are the best posts on X we've come up with. At Unbiased Jag, does Rourke have a real chance of taking QB2 from Beathard?
Yeah, I mean, he has a chance, but I don't think so because, I mean, your backup quarterback is a guy that you want to know that can fill in and finish a game. And Beathard's a veteran, and I think having a veteran presence in that room is probably good for Trevor as well. He's seen a lot. He's been around. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Rourke. The play he made was fabulous. And now there's a new rule this year, JP, if I'm not mistaken. You can keep 3 quarterbacks.
Correct.
It does eat up a roster spot, but you can keep them active on game day, I think.
Correct. That's right. Emergency quarterback.
So is there a situation where Rourke maybe makes the roster? Long shot, but it wouldn't shock me if he continues. He's got to play great in the next 2 preseason games because he has a skill set. He's mobile. He can buy time in the pocket. He's a gritty, competitive guy. So he did himself well, but I still think it's a big hill to climb, JP, for him to beat out Beathard.
Next question at DJ Delphonic. Hey, Pete, this is for Pete, but this is a fantastic Tony question. How did Walker Little look against the Cowboys?
Fine. It wasn't great, but it was fine. Good for a fine first preseason game. He gave up the edge on a twist. He got a little top heavy. But I thought he's fine. He moved in space well. He had a couple of nice, they had a little kind of toss crack where he got out there leading the way. Solid on his pass sets. Yeah, in the short amount of time he was out there, I thought he looked fine.
Moving along, at Tony B's henchman. Do you think the Jaguars will go out and sign a veteran pass rusher before the season starts, or just go into the season with what we have?
Well, they brought Jadeveon Clowney in today. He left without anything. He doesn't get me too excited. He only had 2 sacks last year, 9 the year before, but he's a veteran body who's a big, powerful guy. I think they're going to keep their eyes open. I think the one thing we didn't talk about, and I don't know if you and Pete talked about it, JP, Chase on, boy, I just didn't see much.
We did touch
not
on
a lot
that.
of a lot of explosiveness. There's nothing that just jumps out at you when you watch him. I know Abdullah had the sack, but I didn't see a lot of quick twitch. But now it was early. It's first game, so I'm not making a judgment about Abdullah. I mean, he was a good pass rusher in college, so I'm looking forward to seeing him the next 2 preseason games.
Chazon, to your point, Tony, 12 snaps for Chazon, and he's not on the defensive stat sheet. He didn't have a tackle or anything.
I mean, I watched it. I just didn't. I mean, I didn't see anything. Not like even if you have 0 stats, I didn't see like any explosiveness. I didn't see any
right.
Stress. I didn't see him stressing anybody. So, and then you have 92, the kid who's been hurt for 2 years, Jordan.
Jordan Smith. Jordan Smith.
Jordan Smith.
He's tall,
Jordan
long.
Smith. Tall, lanky, but he's a guy who's been hurt. So you got to see what you got there. Long story short, I think their eyes are open. They're not against bringing in a pass rusher. That was proven the last 2 days with Clowney being in. I think a lot of it's going to come down to how do these young guys, how does Chason and the rest of the group after Trayvon and Allen, do they do anything? Do they give them anything? And one preseason game and practice, a lot of questions there, JP.
Hey, does not that they brought in Clowney just for a motivational tactic for the other guys, but it could work that way, right? Hey, maybe open some eyes. Hey, wait a minute, they're bringing guys in now? We got to step it up.
Well, if you're not motivated at this time and you're a backup, then you have other issues.
That's true.
But don't put that past Trent Baalke. I mean, Tom Coughlin was famous. Every Monday throughout the entire season, he would bring in guys to work out. And basically the message is he was looking to improve the bottom half of the roster at all times. And so, I think it does send a message, but you shouldn't have to send a message at this point to guys like Chason, who's fighting for his NFL career after being a first-round pick, Abdullah, mid to late draft pick, trying to make the team, Jordan Smith, a guy who's been hurt, in year 3. So if they need a message, you got other issues going on. I mean, the big question is Dwan Smoot.
Yeah, right.
What is
right? It's going to be a while, Tony. It's going to be a while, it feels like.
It does feel that way, JP. I'd agree with you. I mean, no official word. He's on the pup. And so you don't have to give an official word right now.
But just watching him move around, Tony, it's going to be a minute.
I agree with you. I mean, so I don't think you can count on him probably the first part of the season. Maybe the first half of the season by the time he gets in shape and gets his legs underneath him. And then you wonder – how much explosiveness did he lose with that Achilles? Now, the good thing is the way they're doing Achilles nowadays, it's a much better surgery than it used to be. So I still think, the big – if you were going to say what are the 2 biggest questions on this roster, it's pass rusher, especially depth, because I think you have 2 good starters. Now, are they – I have them down as $23 to $25, sack guys.
Yes, you do, combined. Happens. Yes, that's right.
That happens. I will be throwing a parade and rubbing it in everyone's face. But after that, who do you have, JP? Who's your – I just think about it in a 70-play game. Who are you putting out there rotating in? Last year it was call it a 4-man rotation with Trayvon, Josh Allen, Dwan Smoot, and Arden Key.
Yeah, that's right.
Tell me who the 4 are right now.
Well, the starters, and then Abdullah is going to have to step up and play. And then your 4's up for grabs, right?
Well, right now it's Chason.
All right. Right now it would be him, yes.
So, And then the second part position is nickel. I think it's nickel and pass rusher, more pass rusher depth, but who's the nickel and who are your top 4 ends or outside backers?
Let's wrap up with one final question today, and this is from @Coach Yost CP. Half the Jags fan base is blocked by Pete Prisco because he's been nothing but negative for years and years, and whenever anyone calls him out for being nothing but a negative Nancy, he blocks them. I don't see a question in there anywhere, but
I wish Pete was here for this because Pete is famous for blocking people. JP, how many people have you blocked on X in your entire life being on there?
Maybe 5, 10, maybe an X here or there. Doesn't need to see what's going on, all that. Maybe 10, 5 to 10.
Well, I've been married for 28 years, so I don't have any X's that were around when X was even a thought. So I think I've got a total of 1 or 2 that I blocked just because they were just profane, vicious, just, nasty. Pete will block you at the drop of a hat. And I think our ex-poster has a point there. And I think Pete should unblock all Jag fans from his Twitter feed.
All of them.
And I think it's going to be something I will be bringing up next week once we figure out how to get us both on the show at the same time, which I know the team's working on, and we got a new studio, so be patient with us. It'll be great this season. It's gonna be a great show as usual. And Max and PCAV and Dave, they're all doing hard work right now, getting everything ready for us. But I will bring that up to Pete because I think it's downright cowardly.
Yeah.
That Pete Prisco blocks people because he doesn't like he can't handle the heat. If you can't handle the heat, Pete, get out of the kitchen.
Tony, the highest rated part of the show is the first 7 minutes of hour 2, I must say, tonight. Tony Boselli, Pete Prisco, our entire crew. I'm JP Shadrick. We will catch you next time. Jaguars are headed to Detroit tomorrow against the Lions. Thanks for listening to Jaguars Happy Hour.